solving our polynomials for all roots. Not just our rational roots, but all of them, okay? I've got 3 examples set up on the board, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to work through them so you have some examples to refer to and what happens when we run into our irrational answers and our imaginary answers, okay? So just 3 examples solving polynomials. Here we go. So this first one, if we're going to start looking for our rational roots, we need to have a constant to be able to factor. But here I don't have a constant because it has an x attached to it, which means I can start by factoring out an x. So if I do this, I end up with x cubed plus 5x squared minus x minus 5. So here's one of my answers. That means if x equals 0, my polynomial equals 0. So that's one of my solutions. So I'll go ahead and write that right here. One of my answers, done. I'm looking for 4 answers. I have 1. I'm looking for 3 more. So I'm going to start by factoring, finding my factors of my constant, which is 1 and 5. My leading coefficient is 1, so I'm just going to ignore that, okay, because it's going to give me the same answer. So I'm going to start guessing. So I'll go ahead and I'll start with 1. 1, 5, negative 1, negative 5. Drop the 1, I get 6. 1 times 6, that's 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Sweet. 1 is an answer. Okay? I'll go ahead and guess negative 1. Drop the 1, that's negative 1, I get 5. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Boom. Third answer. I've got 3 out of my 4 answers. And now, this was x cubed, x squared. I'm looking at x plus 5 equals 0. So I'm going to minus the 5 over. And there's my 4th answer. Sweet. Okay, so here's an example where all of my answers are nice. We've got to remember that 0 in there when we can factor out that x. Okay, that can get tricky. So just remember, we needed a constant, so I factored the x out. That gives me one of my solutions, 0. All right, let's jump to the second problem. Remember, when we're doing our division, we need placeholders. We're missing a lot of terms here, so we're going to have to put in placeholders in those positions. So 81, oh heavens, we're going to have a lot of factors here. So 1 and 81, 2 doesn't work, 3 does, 3 goes into it 27 times, 4, no, 5, no, 6, no, 7, no, 8, no, 9. Nice. 10, no, 11, no, 12, no. I hope those are all my factors. Shh, if they're not, I don't know. But that's a pretty good list, okay? So we've got 1, 3, 9, 27, and 81. Okay, I'm going to check my Descartes' rule to see if that'll help me out. So positive to a negative, that means I'm going to have 1 positive answer, okay? Then if I change my sign, if I plug in a negative, this is going to stay positive, stay negative. So I also have 1 negative answer. So only 1 positive, 1 negative. If I find my positive answer, I am done guessing. Okay. So I'm going to start with 1. It's a good place to start. So I'm going to plug in 1. That's 1x to the 4th, 0x cubed, 0x squared, 0x minus 81. All right. Drop the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. That's 1. 1 times 1 is 1. That doesn't seem like it's going to be building. I get 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is negative 81. Does not work. All right. So I'm going to try 3. So 1, 0, 0, 0, negative 81. I'm going to drop my 3. Sorry, I'm dropping my 1. Dropping my 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 0 plus 9 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. 0 plus 27 is 27. And 3 times 27 is positive 81. Negative 81 plus 81 is 0. Sweet! I got one of my answers. Okay, I'm going to write it right here. X equals 3. Now, I wonder if that's been recording this whole time. We shall see. My computer went to sleep. Okay, now that we've got our positive solution, my Descartes' rule told me one positive answer. I'm not going to guess any more positive answers. I'm only going negative now. So, I'm going to go ahead and, since I got a positive 3, I'll go ahead and try a negative 3 and see what happens. Remember, I'm building my answer, or my division right now, off of my quotient that I got. So I'm going to drop my 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. That's 0. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. 9 plus 0 is 9. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Plus a positive 27, that's 0. Sweet! Got my negative answer. Okay, so I have a positive answer and a negative answer, which my Descartes' rule told me that's what I was going to get. But I'm looking for 4 answers according to the fundamental theorem of algebra. So I have 2 answers. I need 2 more, but they're not positive or negative. That tells me that they might be imaginary. So let's check it out. Okay, so at this point, right, this was an x to the 4th, this was an x cubed, this is an x squared. So I have x squared plus 9 equals 0. We know how to solve this type of quadratic that we learned in math 2. So we're just going to solve for x here. So I'm going to minus the 9 over. X squared equals negative 9. And I square root it. X equals, if you square root a negative, that automatically becomes imaginary. Anytime you square root something, you have to take into account the positive answer and the negative answer. So the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of negative 9 is 3i. So my next 2 answers, positive 3i and negative 3i. So it's easy when you build off of your quotients because you're getting closer and closer to a quadratic that we can solve by hand. And in this case, it's imaginary, and that's the only way we're going to be able to solve that portion of the polynomial. All right, so we've got one more to solve. All rational, imaginary. This one, I'm assuming we're going to run into some irrational answers. Okay? That glare's pretty good up there, so let's take a look. So this is x cubed plus 4x squared minus 2x minus 8. I wonder if I move that down. Let's just bring you in a little bit, all right? We can see that a little bit better. Cool. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor. So that's going to give me 1, 2, 4, and 8. Okay, we're looking for 3 answers. According to my Descartes rule, we've got 1 positive answer. And then when I plug in my negative x, this is going to be negative, positive, positive, negative. So we have 2 or 0 negative solutions. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my negative answer. If you have questions as to why I'm starting negative, hit me up with an email or ask in class. So I'm going to start with negative 1. So that's 1, 4, negative 2, and negative 8. So I drop the 1, that's negative 1, that's 3. 3 times negative 1, that's negative 3, so I get negative 5. That's 5, so I get negative 3. That doesn't work. Nope. Okay, so let's go ahead and try negative 2. So 1, 4, negative 2, negative 8. Drop the 1, negative 2 times 1, that's negative 2. 4 plus negative 2 is 2. 2 times negative 2 is -4. So I get -6. So that gives me a +12. That doesn't work. All right. I don't want to try 4 and 8. Those just don't feel right. So I guess I'm going to try for the positive. I was wrong with my assumption and my guessing. So let's see what happens if I start guessing positives. So I'm going to erase these so I have more room. Okay. Now I'm going to guess +1. So 1, 4, -2, -8. Drop the 1. 1 times 1. So that gives me 5. 1 times 5, that's 3. Well, it's not +1. Okay, so let's try +2. 1, 4, -2, -8. Drop the 1 times 2, that's 6. 2 times 6, that's 12. So that gives me 10. Well, golly gee. Well, hopefully it's still recording. Hi, it went to sleep again. I'm just going to take a gander. All right. My uncomfortableness is biting me in the butt. I've got to try something I don't want to try, which is my 4s and my 8s. So we've seen plenty of guessing. Miss Nelson has to guess too. So now I'm going to plug in a -4. 1, 4, -2, -8. I drop the 1. I get -4. That gives me 0. -4 times 0 is 0. I get my -2. -4 times -2 is +8. Boom, there's my answer that I needed. I wanted that. I've got one answer. So I know that x equals -4. Okay. This was an x cubed. So now I'm chilling with an x squared. Okay? You could sit and guess all day, and you're not going to get any more answers, and here's why. This is x squared minus 2 equals 0. Again, we know how to solve for this by hand. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. X squared equals 2, and I'm going to square root it. So x equals plus or minus the square root of 2. My last two answers are irrational. One is positive, one is negative, which fulfills my Descartes' rule. I have one positive answer, 2 negative answers, because we're including that -4. So my answers are x equals -4, positive root 2, and negative root 2. Now we can solve for all our roots as we're building our polynomial solutions. Okay? Good luck. Email me with questions.